Well, hello guys, and welcome back. For this one wasn't even requested, but I thought back over working with Mammon, and it gives us a really rare opportunity to do something in a meditation. So I think this will be useful for all of us. As always, you guys know all the suggestions. Put on your comfy clothes, get a snack and drink. Make sure you won't be disturbed and turn off all distractions. Give yourself enough time, so forth and so on. If you guys need to pause for to get drink or snack or comfy clothes, go ahead and pause now. Okay, guys, welcome back. So we're going to keep this one a lot simpler than most of the meditations, but we're going to begin as we always do, and please go with your body. You can breathe in. Do what you can. Don't fight your body. Breathe in, please. And let it go. Isn't that wonderful? And just feel your worries and your stress just leave your body. Now, what we're going to do with Mammon is go over actually a very special gift I got from my experience of working with Mammon. And that is, we're going to meet with Mammon. And we're just going to all feel that we're in his presence as we watch this spectacular display in front of us. Or if you have your eyes closed, that's okay too. You can picture Mammon being with us, and he looks just like we think he looks. And he says, this is a very good lesson actually, because demons and humans do not always work out, and that is okay. Lord Mammon and I have tried for years to work together, for years, and we will both freely admit to you that we could not manifest a penny in a penny jar together. We just don't work that way. But, he says, there is always something you can find if you're willing to maintain the relationship and the friendship. Over the years, we've figured out that he is really good at the very least, and this is very important with me, at collaring me and telling me no as to spending money. We can't manifest money, but at the very least, he can keep me from spending it. And sure, at first this was disappointing, and we both admit this. It was very disappointing to find out that, no matter how many articles we read together, and maybe you have done this too with a demon, maybe with Mammon, you read all the articles, you do everything right, and nothing happens. And you keep trying and you keep trying, and perhaps it's been over a year for you at this point, and nothing has happened. And maybe the demon has even agreed that yes, oh yes, all this stuff will happen, and it never does. No one can ever explain these things, my dear. You did everything right. I did everything right. Mammon did everything right on his end. Sometimes things just do not work out. But you can always find secondary lessons together. We definitely learn to work together, and Mammon can teach us the lesson of working with conflicting personalities. We do have a bit of a personality conflict. We're both very strong-minded. He's a very strong, very masculine presence. And when he's around, I certainly do feel protected and feel loved and feel safe. And I do get a sense of dark blues and blacks as I'm showing you in this nebula. But we just have never, gone down the route of, wealth, manifesting wealth. Strangely, where we work well together is he has almost not taken over for Asmodeus, but he comes into, the casinos if I'm playing casino games. He certainly likes to be around wealth with me, and that is definitely a healthy start. And he says to you, he says, well, what demon did you try to work with, that it hasn't worked out with? And what was this failure? Maybe it wasn't a demon, maybe it was a god. And we each tell him who we try to work with and how we feel. And he says, I see. And he says, did you try everything available? And you say, yes, Lord Mammon. I read all the articles, I listened to all the chants, I did all the meditation videos, and still nothing. I thought they agreed, and nothing happened. I'm so disappointed. And he nods, and he says, do you like this god? this being you worked with. And you think about it and you say, well, yes, I like them well enough because you worked for a set amount of time. And he says, what lessons did both of you learn from failing? Because that is an important lesson as success is. And you think about it and you say, well, I learned we don't have the same goals, you know. Perhaps you truly don't have the same goals. Perhaps their goals and the people they work with just truly aren't your goals. And you can't learn that until you start working with something. And Mammon is nodding enthusiastically. The reason we feel, my dears, is because I really don't want to live in a penthouse. I really don't want to travel the world, and I don't care if I have billions of dollars. I might want to manifest other things that will look like success in my life, but I really don't need a demon of business and wealth, that type of wealth management in my life because I don't want to be a big mover and shaker. And he says, were you really truly aligned with what you were working for? Or perhaps were you working with it because you're told that's what you should want and that's what success can look like? Because success can look like anything. Success can look like building good relationships with those you did work with, even if you didn't manifest what you were working towards. Success can work from learning lessons about yourself. Maybe you learned some good things about yourself, some skill sets you never thought you had, and maybe you learned some discipline along the way, and maybe you learned some things that you see more clearly now about yourself that you're like, oh, I never knew I was so impatient, or I never knew, I spent money so easily, or I never knew how whimsical I could be, and, maybe not sit down and make a plan. But, as he points out, it is good to see both success and failure in our life, but the failures are actually going to be the biggest and most exciting teachers. What we both learned is that, obviously everybody that works with demons, or old gods if you prefer, tell you this, is that not every demon and every human are going to be a good match. You might have vastly different goals in mind. And we also learn to work with conflicting personalities, and we learn to respect each other, and we learn to respect that even though we were both frustrated and tired and angry and very disappointed this did not work out, we learned that we cared enough about each other that we wanted to try to rebuild. And so instead of trying to build a business partnership, we've built a kind of advisory partnership. Now, along with Asmodeus, Mammon is the one that will say, yes, I think you've done enough work for the day, or perhaps do a little more. Or he can do things like troubleshooting and, giving me guidance on how to work on things. And he says to you, he says, what if you went back to this old god, to this demon, to whomever you were working with, and you tried to start a new relationship? He wants you to think of what that would look like. What could they work with you on? And he says, the hardest hurdle to get over with this will be that you failed together. That you failed at something this god is known for. Maybe you failed at magic. Maybe you failed at manifesting a partner. Maybe you failed at wealth. Maybe you failed at something else. But he says, we're not all one thing. We can all do many, many things. He said, if they would be open to it, and only you can find this out if you go back to this god that you failed with, what kind of new relationship could you imagine? Could you imagine a friendship? Could you imagine them teaching you another skill? Could you imagine just finding and working together and really not having a strong goal in mind, but having the result that you want to build some kind of partnership and friendship and relationship together? So, we hope you have really enjoyed this one. I know it was extremely different, but one of the greatest gifts of failing utterly with Mammon is that I don't have to sit here and do the cookie cutter, oh, here's how you manifest this, this, and this with you, because we failed utterly. But he gave me a priceless lesson of, it speaks a lot to our character if we can fail utterly with a demon or god and then say, you know what? They taught me a lot. They were sometimes my biggest challenge. I mean, it's okay to admit that. When you're failing with someone, it definitely puts conflict and stress on the relationship. But, at the end of the day, hopefully you still respect them. Hopefully you realize that you can't work together to manifest that thing. And the trick is to let go I know, and I'm sure you know, to let go of the anger and frustration. It's hard sometimes, it's hard sometimes. Let go of the anger and frustration attached to your failure because it's in the past and try to rebuild, try to build a new foundation. Now, this is not a sneaky way to sneak around and get what your original goal was. It truly isn't. It's a way to go back and salvage a relationship, to rebuild, to build a friendship. Because even if you can't succeed together at what that goddess, demon is known for, you certainly can build a relationship together, and they certainly can be a wonderful advisor and friend to you if you will let them. So, if you have closed your eyes, you can open them now. I know, super short, but it felt like, I think with 2020, with so many of us having lost little streams of income, or, we tried to open one and not have happened. I think it's okay to look back on our failures. It certainly is, and to say my failures don't define me. They are good, valuable lessons. And, I can look back at the failures with Mammon and say, well, we just don't jive together. We don't truly have the same end goal. But, in the end, they built me. I learned I don't like to fail. I knew that already. But I also learned that, I cared about Mammon enough after the failure, after all the stuff fell through that he promised, that I still wanted to continue and maintain a relationship. And I hope that for every one of you listening, you can find that too with your goddess, demon that you worked with. That you can go back and say, maybe we didn't end on the best terms, because trust me, Mammon and I did not. But I respect you, and if you'll have me, I would like to work together again. If nothing else we can get from our failures, we can go back and at the very least, try try to make contact and try to start a relationship over again with the understanding we are not going towards what that goddess demon is known for, but we're going towards something that will be new and exciting and unique to us, and in many ways more fulfilling than what they're known for. So we hope you guys have liked what you've seen. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you later. Bye bye.